Hello, everyone, and welcome to TGP1, week 3 of 10 for season 42. Tonight we have got China and Imola, two great Grand Prix coming your way tonight on Tuesday night. I am joined once more this season by Cameron in the comm box. A warm welcome to Cameron. What are you expecting for tonight?
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, I'm looking forward to another set of exciting races. Last week, we were spoilt, really. We had two absolute crackers with real close finishes and a real unpredictable podium. Despite the winner being the same each time, you never knew really what was going to happen throughout. So hopefully, we're going to get a bit more of that tonight.
Hope so indeed. This season we've had 4 races and a shocking winner in round 1, many would say, in Phil Bardwell. He's currently in P5 in your provisional qualifying as we watch Court Gill in the Red Bull just getting ready to go. He's currently P3. Casper has won the 3 races following, but it's been anything but easy for the Mercedes driver. He's currently leading the championship on 95 points, and it's 46 points to his closest rival, which is Phil. Court, the man in third in quali, is third in the championship. He's on 46 points. Jovial Mani is in a strong 4th place. Machine Fishy rounds out the top 5 in the championship, but a 46-point gap to Casper, who's currently P2 and has now just dropped to P3 because my eyes do deceive me. Dom Smith is in provisional pole. Mark it in the calendar, ladies and gentlemen. But what do you expect? Casper has a bit of up buffer. It's 46 points coming into week 3, rounds 5 and 6. What does he need to do now to just hold on to that advantage with the rest of the season?
Well, it sounds obvious, but he just needs to keep doing the same that he's done so far, because that kind of gap already is quite sizable, really. I mean, if he can win again in these 2 races tonight, you have to say he is in a fantastic position, despite there being plenty of races left of the season. But I think it's more up to the others. The others need to just gain the extra few tenths or something per lap and manage to stop the run that Casper's managed to get himself on. And who knows, maybe Phil might be able to do it tonight. He's very close to the top. It's obviously his 300th TGP1 race tonight, so he'll be hoping for a positive result there. And it's quite close in general, Jack, because if you look at the leaderboard there, it's less than 2 tenths separating the entire top 8. So, and well, scratch that, because Jonas has gone quickest.
Johners has gone quickest in the Alpine. TGP1 veteran himself. We are expecting pole position to be around the 30.8, 30.9 mark. We are expecting some of the faster guys in the division to sneak into the 30s. What can Court Gill do on the run up to the line? He's currently P6. He goes P2, and he's very close to Johners in P1 on that front row of the grid. And just like we've seen in the races come the end of the Grand Prix, qualifying is very tight at the moment between the guys at the front. Viva La Merkel being very impressive, reserve driver on opening night. What can he do after missing last week? He's currently in P5 in the McLaren, doing what he can to try and get a full-time seat as New Zealand Cam, someone we expect to be at the front that struggled this season, currently on provisional pole. Viva La Merkel round the final corner, keeps it between the white lines, and the McLaren does go P3, and that gap between the top 4 is absolutely crazy. We expect the likes of Kai and maybe Jovial Mani to be up there as well come the end of the session.
Yeah, it's there's nothing in it. There's nothing in it, and you can see there's a lot of people improving by quite significant amounts on the second run. It just shows that this track, there's a lot of mistakes you can probably make in that first timed run. So when you go again, there's a lot of time that you can suddenly find. We've got Bavesia having a right swapper coming out of the final corner. He comes up to the line and only goes 14th.
Yeah, Professor was very strong in that opening Bahrain round where many strong contenders we weren't thinking would be up there were up there. And maybe Bahrain is just one of those tracks where it's easier for everyone to get around. China, where it's a bit more technical, like Jovial Mani is proving in the middle sector right now. He's currently purple and 3 tenths up on his time. He's currently in P11, so he's got a bit of time to gain to get to that front row of the grid. But Jovial Mani is someone we've known to be around the top 5 come the end of qualifying. A slight toe from the Ferrari ahead and the DRS Open on the Visa RB. These guys currently P2 in the Constructors' Championship, him and Dom Smith. Dom Smith in P6. So a good showing from Visa once again so far on Tuesday night in TGP1. What will he do on the run up to the final corner? Just needs to keep it clean, keep it between the lines. Car number 55. He loves the 5 so much he's got it on both sides of his car. And what will it be? It's P8, so not the lap Roy would want at the moment, but he does have enough time to get round and go again. And Casper managed to sneak up into P5 while we were watching him.
Yeah, there was a couple of things that happened there actually because Kai was on a lap and then he had a moment at that hairpin just at the beginning of sector two. So they've all got, like you said, Jack, they've got plenty of time to get back in the pits and get ready for that final run. But I tell you, with the way this is at the minute, I've got no idea who's going to get pole with the gaps like they are.
Well, anyone in the top 10, you would imagine, with those times all sort of close together, could really challenge for it. Professor coming into the pits, Machine Ireland, someone we'd expect to be
Yeah.
higher up the order, down in 16th in the kick cyber. Won multiple TGP1 races. Round the final corner he goes in the beautiful kick saber, opens the wing for a little bit of support, and it's only going to be P10. So he's going to struggle to get back round them. He's going to have to get round into the pits and back out again. He might not actually make it, so it might be P10 at best. He'll be hoping that Arthur and Lewis Craig can't improve on their laps. Mr. Giappelli, someone currently in the 133s. Is he going to be on a lap this time round to try and improve on 19th, the Williams driver? He'll be wanting a much better lap day, maybe expecting better of himself. Luca, former TGP2 champion, improving ever so slightly in the Williams, but it's not quite going to be enough to make a move on the likes of Neil Jack and Wet Lemons around him.
I tell you, Jack, Dom Smith, he's on a flyer. He's at a great first sector. He's a tenth and a half up at the minute. He only needs to double that, and he'll be on provisional pole. So I'm just seeing how the rest of his lap progresses. A lot of people coming out the pits now for their final run, but Dom on probably his last lap here because he will not have enough time to get back into the pit lane. We're coming up to the second sector point here. What's it going to be? He's lost a bit of time. He's still gaining, so he might still gain a position or two, but he has lost a bit of time in that middle sector.
Yeah, a little bit of time lost in the middle sector. Does he have downforce on the car? He'll be hoping not for this long, kilometre-long back straight. A slight toe in the distance may be helping the marksman Dom Smith. He's in P6. He'll be very happy if it ends in P6 in qualifying, but he's going to try and improve if he can round the hairpin there, and it looked absolutely beautiful from Dom Smith. It didn't even look like he had to brake for that corner. Round the final corner he goes. Car number 7 now on the run up to the line. What will it be? Will it be any higher than 6th? It's a 1.5 tenth improvement, and it just creeps him ever so slightly away from the likes of Phil and Jovial Manti behind.
He's 1,000th of a second off fifth place. That's just cruel on Dom there. The fact that he's not managed to gain an actual position, but it just shows they are all so close here, and I think we're going to see a lot of movement on these final laps.
Yeah, we do believe so. The Aston Martin Matt Tibbles, former two-time TGP1 champion, is going to be next to cross the line. P13, he'll be disappointed with that, especially compared to his teammate Phil, who's up inside the top 8. What will it be for Matt Tibbles tonight in China? Someone we know has got the ability to win races if he can get it together. Round the final corner he goes, and it's not going to be into the top 8. It's P8. It's not enough to beat his teammate, but he'll be happy to be on the fourth row of the grid if it can stay like that, and we'll see if anyone else is going to be able to challenge Matt Tibbles and Phil for the fourth row of the grid.
Court's up on his last lap. He's a couple, I think it's about a tenth up in the middle sector. Enzio Cam is down at the minute. He's down by a tenth. So the current pole man might struggle to actually improve on his final lap. But I could see Court there is definitely up on his lap. As long as he didn't get any traffic there from his teammate, he could be the one to challenge Cam for pole position here.
Cam struggling ahead, but Court Gill is getting a lovely toe off of the back of the Ferrari. The former season 40 TGP1 champion, Court Gill, never been able to claim that prize. Can Court get himself onto the front row of the grid? Because for New Zealand Cam, it's not going to be enough at the moment on provisional pole. Court now round the final corner in the Red Bull. The Dutchman, he's invalidated on the final corner, and he would have been on pole position. Yeah. Viva La Merkel improving enough to be on pole at the moment. He needs to avoid. And he's spun.
Johners.
He's half spun. And Johners is now on the front row of the grid with a P1. It's a 9:31 flat. Viva La Merkel round the final corner. Will it be enough? No, he's invalidated. Casper now is the next man up. Round the final corner goes the Mercedes driver. He's ran out of deployment. Round the final corner, and it's only enough for P5 for the 3 race wins in a row. And maybe that's going to be over as Lewis Craig sneaks up into the top 8. Matt Tibbles going to drop down to 9th. And has Kai got enough in the tank? He goes into P6. So Kai, and that could be the people challenging for the front row all over. And I do believe...
It's rain.
That is it, and qualifying comes to an end. The rain wasn't here quick enough. We do believe there is some rain scheduled for the Grand Prix, as Professor, the last man on a lap, has ran over the line like many did in that final run. And as the rain comes down, many guys at the front row of the grid there will be very happy that it's come this late. Johners with pole position in TGP1 once more. Can we see the Alpine lead into the first corner?
Well, as we expected, a thrilling end to the session there, but a few drivers making that critical error, just running a bit wide at the final corner and invalidating the lap. Was particularly caught, would have took pole probably if he managed to get that last lap in, but instead he starts 7th and Casper 5th place. That's going to be intriguing, Jack, to see how he fares in this race. He's going to be right in the thick of it into the first corner, and we'll see if he can fight his way through.
Absolutely. What can Casper do, the three-time race winner this season? So Johners is on pole with Phil and Cam running at 2nd and 3rd. Viva La Mergo and Casper 4th and 5th. Kai and Court Gill 6th and 7th. With Dom and Lewis Craig side by side once again in 8th and 9th. Dom coming out on top once more. Matt Tibbles rounds out your top 10 for China qualifying tonight. China is a 25% race tonight. They've switched places this week. So Imola is going to be next. That's going to be one-shot qualifying with a 35% distance Grand Prix. And it is raining in China tonight. Wow. So we're not going to have to worry and talk about the tyre wear like every other commentator does when it's a Chinese Grand Prix. That's all you seem to hear about when these races go ahead. Full wets, maybe intermediates. The inters might not go the distance. Now we're talking about tyre wear. What do you think, Cameron?
Well, it's going to be interesting. 25%, they might get away with it. I think they probably will. It all depends if this rain stays. Obviously, the weather system is a bit different now. We were saying a bit off air in terms of when it dries up. The track can be a little bit kind of patchy in terms of the wet parts. But looking at that there, that seems quite heavy. I think this may, well, I don't know, but it looks like it will persist for the entire race, which is going to throw a whole different challenge, and it might be a race of survival at the beginning of this one.
We've had plenty of them in TGP over the years. We are on the grid. We have 4, 5 lights. It's Johners on pole. Can he hold on for the Chinese Grand Prix? It's lights out and away we go. Phil Bardwell going to try and challenge Johners into the first corner, and it looks like New Zealand can round the outside. It's going to take P2 of Johners, who's been absolutely mugged off the start, and Casper's now up into P4, and they're free wide into turn 2 and round the curve they go. New Zealand Cam is touched. Phil and Johners is back into the lead. Johners and New Zealand Cam, and Phil look okay at the moment. Casper going to try take P2 as well. Into turn number 5 they will go. Johners leads from New Zealand Cam. Casper down the inside of his championship rivals, and it's going to be P3. Phil down to 4th. Speed Guy's had a great start. He's up into 5th. Viva La Mergo and Lewis Craig just trying to hold on. Lewis Craig's had a great start as well. He's managed to clear Dom. And Casper is in the lead of the Grand Prix. Round Johners he goes, and Johners just can't quite hold on to the outside for the move to rehold his position.
Chiapelli's round at the back. Then we have a spinner. He's got going again, though, as Court gets ahead of Dom. Court's actually had a bad start. They're down into 10th place, and there's more changes at the back. They're all struggling for grip like you wouldn't believe. Absolutely sliding all over the place, but what a start for Casper. Up into P1, and Enzio Cam there. Round down the inside, now around the outside of Phil Bardwell for 3rd.
On the full wets, can he have the grip on the outside of that snail section before we get onto the big straight? There'll be no DRS. There will only be the battery pack. Casper leads. Johners second. New Zealand Cam in third, but only for now. As look at Johners down the inside. He's looking to go on ERT Casper. It's Mercedes versus Alpine, and it's not quite enough. In the background, Viva La Mergo trying to make a move on Kai. He can't. Professor and Lewis Craig and Machine Ireland all scrapping as well. Lewis Craig's trying to hold on to P8 from Machine Ireland. The Mercedes driver further back does for now. We look further forward again. New Zealand Cam managing to hold on to 3rd. He's going to try make that 3rd into 2nd. Johners has not got enough in the tank, and New Zealand Cam now into the second place, and this is what Cam needs to do. He needs to get ahead of Casper, win the Grand Prix, and not make any mistakes. And look how quick and how much more grip he's got than the Mercedes. Round the outside, Casper is going to have to try and defend. He manages to squeeze the Ferrari round the outside, but it's compromised Casper's run. And now, with a bit of the battery, will the Ferrari be able to make the move? It looks like he's going to have to make it round the outside, and Casper has placed his car absolutely beautifully there, you have to say. And as we get into the second lap, the traction that the Ferrari has over Casper just looks incredible.
Well, there he goes, round the outside. What a fantastic move from Cam there. Just searching for the grip round the outside, almost Verstappen-esque, as he's just swooped round the outside of Casper there. Easy as you like, as he takes the lead on lap 2 here. And Casper, after such a great start, was a little bit all over the place at the beginning of that lap, really missing the brakes and sliding through every corner. And there goes Phil Bardwell down the inside on Jonas for third.
And I don't think we're going to get any respite this week. The boys are starting as they finished, and Jonas has actually had a bit of a moment, and Speed Car is right on the back of him now. Will he be able to make a move as we slingshot off the snail corner? The Williams has obviously got to look in his mirrors because that McLaren is wanting to make a move as well. And will Lewis Craig's finally been passed by Machine Ireland? Jonas now is not looking ahead, he's looking behind because Speed Car round the outside he goes. Will he be able to get the grip that Cam was able to get? No, Jonas holds on to P4 for now, and I tell you what, the top two are starting to peel away, but Cam is not peeling away from Casper just yet.
Well, this is the thing. They're both quite low on ERS, I tell you. Cam has used a lot of it on that last lap, so Casper might now come back in. But you're right, Jack. They are starting to pull clear as Jonas and Kai are going wheel to wheel into the first corner. Kai's trying to hang it around the outside. Might run out of road trying to put it there. And yes, Jonas shuts the door. Well done to him. Keeps hold of P4.
And Viva La Mergo is making a move for P5 if he can. Not quite open just there, and Jonas showing his experience, able to defend from Kai, where Casper, who hasn't got as much experience as the like of Cam in TGP1, was able to get the move done. And I tell you what, Phil has managed to get back within a second of those guys up front. Maybe the guys slowing down in just the wet conditions, not risking anything. No need to blast ahead and force yourself to make a mistake.
Well, Phil's got max ERS, which I know in these conditions it's not absolutely critical, but it will gain him something. And so he's clearly being able to save quite a lot and still have the pace, because like you said, he is catching this front two, and it's now Jonas who's starting to get a little bit dropped just behind, but they are all still nose to tail throughout the whole pack. I mean, you can go right down into 14th place and they're all still wheel to wheel all the way through the field.
Yeah, Court Kill is that man in 14th. He's had a disastrous start. After looking like he was going to get pole position, it doesn't look like it's going to be his night. Someone's night looking to be his Speed Car. If he can finally get past Johners this time around in the back straight. Look how defensive Johners is going. You can't even see him because the board on the left is blocking it. But Kai now, side by side, this is as close as he's been to making the move on Johners. But the Alpine once more has some nice car placement and is just managing to hold on as Kai needs to drop back into the slipstream to try make a move as New Zealand Cam sets another fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and Casper now not close enough to make a move, and without the DRS and struggling with ERS, it's going to be tough to make that move. As now Kai down the inside, he goes on Johners, but it's round the outside, but Johners is just holding on again. It will turn to the inside this time, and Johners is just not able to close the door like he has been previous. And maybe Kai now, he tried it round the outside the first time, he had to go down the inside this time, and this time he's got the move done, but Johners is going to come back at him. It's the inside now for turn number 5, and Johners in the Alpine should be able to squeeze the Williams off, and that's what he does, and Johners holds on to B4 once again. Lewis Craig and Arthur having battles further back. Lewis Craig going to try and make that move round the outside, but he's not got enough grip. And Viva La Merkel is just eyeing up the challenge ahead of Johners and Kai.
Great defender from Jonas there. He almost lost the position to Kai, but he just managed to hang on and covered that inside line into the hairpin. That was the critical one, because if he didn't have it there, then Kai would have been through. But he's still ahead for now, but these guys are losing a lot of time now to the top 3, because the battling is getting even more by the lap, and you can see Viva La Marco is probably just waiting for these two to take each other off and pick up an easy P4 here.
Well, I don't know how long he can wait for, because Matt Tibbles has closed down at 0.7 of a second this time round, and that Aston Martin that qualified in P9, is looking to make some moves. Someone that needs to make the move, and it's been coming for a long time now, is Speed Kai, and it's not going to happen this time round. And actually, Matt Tibbles is defending from Machine Ireland down the inside. The Kick Sauber driver goes. It was only P11 in qualifying for Shea, but it's up into P7, and some good points coming his way if he can keep going at the moment.
Cam sets another fastest lap, but he's still not able to shake off Casper at the front. It's a two-horse race at the minute, as Phil has dropped back a little bit more. Kai has not been able to get close enough this time around, but now he's going to have a look on the inside of Jonas. You're not going to find a way through there, mate. It's going to get shut in your face. You're going to have to set it up again for the hairpin, and he'll try and get a good exit here, but he's not quite been able to. Again, a lot of rear slip there, and he's going to have to wait for another opportunity.
And these guys are in danger of this becoming a five-way battle, because Machine Ireland and Matt Tibbles are very close now to the back of these guys. Viva La Merkel's made a mistake, and he might be in danger of losing P6 to Machine Ireland if he's not careful in the next couple of laps. But these guys are just so close together that any mistake, and you're going to catapult up a position. And Kai just looks to have so much more grip and speed, but when it gets to the braking zone, he just doesn't look like he has the bottle that Kai has, that Johners has, sorry. And Machine Ireland now is very close. This is becoming a four-way battle very quickly for that fourth place and 12 valuable points in the championship.
There goes Arthur having a little look at Bavesio just behind, thought better of it, as the top two are getting a bit more closer now. Casper has got a good runner here at Cam, and he's using his ERS as well. He's not gaining too much down the straight, but he is definitely a lot closer this time around.
Here comes Casper now. He's not going to be close enough to make a move, but he is close enough to be very close to the back of that Ferrari. And has the Williams made the move this time around, and Johners doesn't defend. He's going to try the switchback, and that is very Arav-esque, and what a move that is from Johners if he can hold on. But it's going to be the outside this time for him, and it's not going to be enough, and Kai finally makes the move for P4, and now Johners is right on his chuff, on his gearbox, going to try and make the move, and Viva La Merkel down the inside. Viva La Merkel goes, and he takes both of them. He licked the stamp and sent it, but he's gone deep, and now Johners in the Alpine is going to try and get the move back, as Kai has lost 3 positions, as he's now behind Machine Ireland. And Viva La Merkel now down the inside. There goes on Johners, and Viva La Merkel has stolen P4 from those two who have been battling for a long time in this Grand Prix. And Machine Ireland now down the inside. He goes on the Williams, and it could be going from bad to worse from Kai. Machine Ireland, will he have the grip to hold on to P6? Yes, he does. And Johners and Kai have had a disaster there after battling for so long.
My word, that McLaren looked like it had a rocket ship on the back of it. Absolutely flew past the two of them there down the straight from absolutely nowhere. But fantastic racing. There goes Kai down the inside on Machine Island. A bit of contact, but he's got the move done. Back up into 6th place. But wow, superb from the McLaren there. And now he's got plenty of space ahead of him to get his foot down. Great
racing from the podium park, but as we speak about the podium park, we're thinking about the winners park. It's Casper, it's Cam, it's Mercedes, V Ferrari, it's no DRS, and it's just not going to be close enough for Casper once more, as Casper actually lifting off early on, trying to set up a move maybe into turn number 1 where he can challenge it for a longer time and maybe stick the Ferrari out to dry and hopefully get the move and hold on to it as he's sliding round that final corner as we ride on board. I think Matt Tibbles and Machine Ireland are battling further back as we watch the front. Nothing seeming to happen at the moment there. We'll watch the battle for P4. Not much going on now as the guys seem to be settling down and getting some distance between them. And actually Matt Tibbles is right on the back of Machine Ireland, and the Red Bull of Bavesser is right on the back of Arthur, but not quite close enough as I got the guys mixed up. And Bavesser now down the inside. Arthur trying to hold on. It's going to turn to the outside if he can't get the move done here, and it has done. The Haas, the reserve driver, Professor, trying to hold on, pushes him wide, but he's not going to have enough space. There's a wee bit of wheel banging, but nothing too serious, and the place down the inside seems to be the better option, and Arthur holds on to P9, so that's some good points for Red Bull being scored at the moment, and Speed Kai and Johners reigniting that battle, which is now for P5.
Yeah, Arthur did well there to hang on to that. I think Bavessia actually, he got in a bit of a scuffle with Matt Tibos at the hairpin after the long straight. That's what plummeted him down the order and into a bit of trouble there. But yeah, Arthur hanging on very well. And is it, maybe my eyes are deceiving me, Jack, but I think the rain might be easing up.
It does look like it's getting a bit better, but as you see on the screen, Casper moves to the right hand side, getting into the water, the puddles, trying to cool the temperatures in the tyres. Maybe the temperature's starting to rise on those wets, and we could be heading towards intermediates as we're now over half race distance. Nothing happening at the front. Kai, though, is going to try and make a move for P5 on Johners that he's been trying to make for ages. Round the outside you'll go, and Johners has cut the corner there, so that is going to have to... And Cam's in the pits.
Yeah, so that's a big call there, and it all depends on if the others follow him. Phil's in the pits as well, but Cam pulling the trigger there, it's a big risk, Jack.
A very big risk. Ferrari known to make some strategy blunders.
Crash.
There's a crash.
So Lewis Craig has hit the barrier at the final corner, I think, trying to get in the pits. He's lost his front wing, and he's trying to finally get back in there. Obviously, I don't think there's any safety cars, but unfortunate for him.
Lewis Craig struggling this season, not proven to be his best season so far. The other Mercedes, though, is up in P1. He's decided to go long, and when you do go long on F1 games, when it is time to change, you're usually left hung out to dry. Phil could be on here to try and sneak a top 2 finish. We'll check the tyres on everyone's cars. It is intermediates as we expect. Obviously still raining lightly, but what we noticed on the stream, Cam dipped in to the puddles, so did Casper, and maybe noticing that on the Mercedes behind, Cam decided it was time to box and see what he can do. And Cam leading, he's in P6 now, he's going to come out in first, of course, and Casper could be in danger here of losing a podium.
Call me crazy, Jack. I think Casper almost might just stay out here. I wonder, he's already lost the lead here. Like, Cam is going to be miles ahead of him, and I don't know. I'm not quite sure that gap is big enough to stay out, but it just depends on if he wants to gamble it. We're going to find out. Will he come in the pits? No, he stays out. So he is going to gamble it. He's going to try and get to the end, I would imagine, here, and hope that gap is big enough to survive the charge in Enzio Cam.
So the gap was 25 seconds when he came out of the pits. It's now down to around 19 seconds. So if he is going to stay out, you do gain about 2 seconds a lap, give or take. My maths isn't perfect here. Cam should catch him, but Cam this season has been known to make a mistake. So he needs to keep it on the road. He needs to keep it going. And the guys ahead, there is some traffic. We should imagine that Cam would be able to clear them pretty quickly. It is going to be a run to the line, and I do like your call there. It might just be worth it to stay out. And Chris Johnson set the fastest lap in the other Ferrari. And I tell you what, Casper might be in trouble here of losing the win. But if he does lose the win, it's all about damage control and just staying as high up as he possibly can. And now that we've had those pit stops, the gaps have all formed, and the battles are happening further down the order.
But to put that fast lap in perspective, and I know the wets won't be setting PBs at the minute, but it's only 7 tenths quicker than Casper's PB on the wet tyres. So maybe he might get away with this. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be incredibly close. As you can see, again, he's searching for the wettest parts of the track. But I don't know. I think it's going to be fascinating. Now, we've got a Red Bull, though, off down the straight. Arthur trying his best impression of TGP Rally there, going onto the grass. But Arthur is going to be the next one for Cam to try and negotiate, and it could be a bit tricky.
We've got another 2 months before the rally begins. Court, sorry to let you know that. But Speed Kai on the back of the nail jack now. It's intermediates versus wets. It should be easy, and it's a slam dunk for the former 3-time TGP1 race winner in Speed Kai. And now what can he do as Giovanni finally gets past Matt Tibbles. I was watching that battle for a while, and then when I looked away, Giovanni got past. So that gap, with 5 laps to go, 16.9 seconds. Kai, sorry, has set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, that's why I said Kai's name. Cam has got a big ask here, and with 5 laps to go, Casper could have pulled an absolute blinder here, staying out on the wet tyres. Have the strategists and Ferrari cost Cam the chance at the race win here?
Well, I've just done the maths quickly as Cam crossed the line to just look at that lap that he said. He's got to find 3.5 seconds on Casper per lap to catch up to him before the checkered flag. That's his task that's ahead of him, which is quite a lot, but obviously with the tyre difference, it might just be possible. He's got to also obviously get past the other wet tyre runners, which might not be too straightforward, but I don't know what's going to happen here, Jack. It's going to be super, super close.
As Crofty once said, it's easy to gain, it's easy to close, it's not so easy to pass. As Nail Jack is off, I'm not sure if that was the wet tyres, maybe not giving him the grip, or if there was a bit of contact. Guy's going to have to try and avoid him. But the battle seems to be for the top 10 places now. The final couple of points, other than Cam and Casper out front for that battle, is all on the tyre delta. The battles for positions. The top 14 score points in TGP1. Nell Chuck is looking in danger. And have we had a moment for someone up front?
NZL Cam's just hit Arthur. He's just hit him at the hairpin because Arthur was so much slower through the apex of the corner. He's just drove into the back of him. I don't think he got damage, but he's definitely been held up by it.
No damage on the Ferrari, it looks like. And this is what we were saying. It might be easier for Cam to close that gap, but getting past is a different question. And he just can't get past, and he just needs to slow down before he causes himself some damage. If you're not going to win the race, you want to be as high up as you can. You don't want to lose more ground. So it's just about getting past these guys for New Zealand Cam at the moment.
Well, unfortunately, Cam, you can't drive through him, although he might have a look at him around the outside here. He might finally get it done, but Arthur might just run a bit wide there on the exit of the corner. But no, Cam has the better traction and finally gets past Arthur. And he's got 14.5 seconds to find in the final 4 laps.
I just don't think it's going to be enough. That battle, a Machine Island and Viva America, you'd expect to be a bit more of a harder task than getting past Arthur. New Zealand Cam might have asked too much of himself tonight in the Chinese Grand Prix, and it just might be curtains on his charge for this race win, and it looks like it could be 4 in a row for Casper, but we won't talk too soon. Sheck Wace is on for good points. He's in P9. He's currently got Jovial Manny and Court Gill for company, and Johners, who seems to have lost in that battle to Speed Kai, going to try hold on now. He's down in 8th. So the guys that have stayed out on the wet tyres may be struggling, but it has caused them some good points opportunities.
Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, as Joe Romanity gets ahead of Weiss there, going onto the straight, he's going to get absolutely picked off here by a bunch of cars just behind him. I don't think this is going to work for Cam. As there goes Phil Bargewell down the inside into the final corner, and they make contact. And Phil did a great job there to keep the car on the track, because how on earth that Aston Martin didn't go around, and he should try and get past down the next straight. But that was another sketchy moment with Arthur and an intermediate runner.
Yep, Arthur doing everything he can to hold on to that top 5 place and score some valuable points for Red Bull and try get himself a seat full time in the division. But Phil Bardwell is not worried about that. He's second in the championship. He wants to close the gap, which is not going to happen in this race, but he wants to be as high up as he can to make sure. And they're still making contact as we're going to look elsewhere to see what's going around, and Johners is finally past Check Wace, and those wet tyres now may be hampering the guys like Wace and Bevesser and Arthur.
There goes Phil round the outside, and it's a sweet move, or is it? Arthur is still hanging on somehow, and will have to yield there. Surely he goes off the track, but Phil is now ahead, and Ezio Cam is ahead of Machine Island.
Yeah, Machine Island didn't put up too much of a fight. He knows what is going on in the situation. He knows he's not going to be able to hold off Cam for another 2.5 laps. And Cam now back onto the podium. Can he close that gap now to Viva La Merkel? The gap is about 5 seconds. If he can close that gap and get back into P2, he will be happy with that. But he is 10 seconds off ERT Casper, and the race win looks like it's slipped away from Cam here tonight. Casper, though.
Yeah. Sorry, not to interrupt you there, Jack, but yeah, I think it's a little too late, unfortunately. But as you were probably about to say, what a call from Casper to stay out, because they were neck and neck on the intermediates, and he's made the right call here.
Well, not got the pace, as he's had 7, 8 seconds taken out of him by Cam, but he was undercut by Ferrari. Maybe Mercedes didn't pull him in time. Ferrari had the better strategy at the moment in time, but then he just thought to himself, I've lost P1 anyway. There's no harm in me staying out, and it looks like it has paid off as Cam is closing that gap. It's closer and closer each lap to Viva La Merco, and Cam might be able to sneak P2, but Viva La Merco, I tell you what, if he manages to hold on to P2 in this Grand Prix, what a call it is from the McLaren reserve driver, and it could be 2 P2s in 2 races for him.
Yeah, it might be tricky, although it is possible, that's for sure. I mean, the gap is about 3 seconds now, so, you know, what we were saying before about what Cam needed to find per lap on those wet tyre runners, it might be possible for him, but there's not long to go. As Kai and Arthur are going wheel to wheel now.
And Kai's made that move, but Arthur's not going to give it up without a fight like we've seen all night. He's not one to bow down to a challenge, and he is still fighting this. The wets maybe providing more grip than we'd imagine at this stage of the Grand Prix, and Kai looks like he might lose out in this battle on the run-up. He should have better traction and better grip, but Arthur's later on the brakes. The Red Bull holding on to his position at the moment. And Arthur just showing that he's got the fight and the battle that some of these teams lower down the order might want in a driver. And Kai finally gets the position. And Jovial Manti now is in to ninth
Arthur's
position.
coming back in. Here comes Arthur. Oh, a late move there from Kai. And Arthur's down the inside. They make contact into the first corner. And Kai's gone right off. Onto almost on another circuit there. So far off the track. But a little bit aggressive there from Arthur. It was a late move from Kai, but I'm sure them two will have words after the race as Kai's going to have to try again on this lap.
Well, you like to see the battles, you like to see the guys going wheel to wheel, but you don't like to see the contact being made, and Arthur's let him go, which I do believe was the right call there. So Arthur, great battles tonight, great points being scored for himself, and he knew he had to yield the position. But Dom Smith, someone who doesn't want to yield his position, maybe a bit of a late move from the junior team there, trying to hold off Professor, who has the time penalty. And Dom Smith is going to try look ahead, but he's got to hold on to this place at the moment. If he has any chance of catching Matt Tibbles, he needs to stay ahead of Professor. On the final lap now of the Chinese Grand Prix, we're going to go towards the front. It was a bold strategy call at the time. We were thinking he might be in danger of losing it for a lap or two. Calm, maybe that battle with Arthur has cost him time and a chance at winning the Grand Prix. But for the 4th time in a row this season, Casper will win the Chinese Grand Prix as long as he doesn't crash over the line. He does win in China. Viva La Merco holds on to P2 and Cam is on the podium once more. Phil comes 4th again. Machine Ireland down in 5th. That's some good points after his poor qualifying. Speed Kai round the final corner will finish in 6th. Johners is going to come home in 7th and Court Gill in 8th. Jovial Manti comes home in 9th. Arthur will round out the top 10 as he's run out of fuel. Matt Tibbles in 11th. Dom Smith 12th. Bevesser comes home in 13th. Wet Lemons is going to round out the points here in China, which he's going to be happy about. Chris Johnson in 15th. And Mr. Giapelli, who looks like he's out of fuel as well, or running really low on fuel, is going to come around the final corner to finish the Grand Prix in 16th for Williams. Lewis Craig, a disappointing night. You noticed on the stream that he crashed trying to pit, so that's cost him even more time, and that is no points going to be scored for the Scotsman in the Mercedes. His teammate winning the Grand Prix. Lewis going to have to step up in the second half of the season. Neil Jack is going to come round and finish in 18th. A reserve driver, TGP2 legend Neil Jack himself comes round, and Sheck Wace, who is a bit further back, is going to take a wee while to get round and finish his Chinese Grand Prix. But what another entertaining Grand Prix. It was a little bit further apart for the win tonight than it has been in the opening 2 weeks, but Casper gets it done again.
Yeah, it was a different kind of race, but it still had that kind of thrilling element to it where you really didn't know what was going to happen until the final 2 or 3 laps. You have to say, Casper and Viva La Merco, what great calls, because in that moment they're probably worried that they're going to get undercut and the opportunity is gone for a win or a podium. But they stuck to their guns and they risked it going out. They didn't really know what the pace of those wet tyres were going to be like and if it was going to be enough, but it proves to be. And Casper, that, ladies and gentlemen, is why he is the championship leader, because he just doesn't make mistakes. And as you tend to find with the people that are at the top of the standings, they just have the least amount of mistakes. And Casper, although he may have potentially not quite been the fastest tonight at China, he was definitely the most mistake-free, and he well and truly deserved that win in the end.
Yeah, that is what the problem he had last season when Softy was dominating and winning all the Grand Prix. It was Calm, it was Casper, it was Machine Ireland making the mistakes. And Casper's learned from that debut season, that rookie season on F123 late on in the year. And it's just proven that maybe with that bit more experience under his belt, he is able to hold on and just win more and more Grand Prix that he wasn't able to do last season. Calm, someone who's been champion before, you'd expect him to be able to have that confidence in the cockpit, but maybe this game, just not for him, as Machine Island picks up driver of the day. It was actually a great result from Shea. He started quite low down in qualifying and managed to pick up, I think it was P5 in the end. And for the fourth time in a row, we've seen that celebration, and maybe this time for the soft cop to come back and show him what he's got.
Yeah, it starts to make you wonder if them two almost need to kind of sell it between each other. But I just think the thing with Casper is, like I said before, the others have the pace, and I don't want to go too hard on them, but Cam there had the pace to beat Casper tonight, but was kind of outfought in a way with that call on the tyres and had a lot of work to do at the end of that one. And it's going to be a bit of a going back to the drawing board, I think, for some of them, of finding a way to stop Casper winning these races. Because if he wins at Imola, then, like I said earlier in the stream, Jack, I think that might be curtains this early in the season.
Well, there's plenty of time to go, and like we say, with Softy dominating, Casper dominating, the cream always rises to the top. If it's not Softy, it's Matt Tibos. If it's not Matt Tibos, it's the Confessor. If it's not the Confessor, it was Calm, and now it's Casper's turn to be that man in TGP1. We've had it multiple games. We've had everyone on F122. It was Jack Hickey. It just comes and goes. When it's your game, and it looks like it might be Casper's turn in TGP1 this season. We're going to Imola. We're going to have a quick break. Lewis Craig crashed into pit entry. He's saying he's not happy with that, the Mercedes driver. We wish we caught that on stream. That would have been funny to witness. But him and Dom Smith, owner, legend, TGP2 champion not so long ago, finally moved to the wheel. Just seems to have Lewis's number. That battle I've spoken about so many times in the opening weeks. It's so tense between the two. But Dom just seems to have Lewis's number this season when it seemed to be the other way around. What does it mean, those type of rivalries, when you're not winning the divisions, you're not winning the races, you're not on the podiums, but when you have someone that's kind of so closely matched to yourself and you just can't quite seem to get the edge on him, how does that make you feel as a driver?
Well, I think if you're not getting ahead of them, then you will be frustrated, because if that's all you've got to fight for, if you're not necessarily fighting for podiums or wins or championships, you do want to just get the better of your rivals, the better of your teammates. That's the next target, if you like. And if you're struggling to do that, then, well, like I said, you have to just find a different way, or wait for a good track of yours to come along. Obviously, some of these circuits, some people suit them, some people don't. But for certain drivers, they just need to break that streak of losing out to the rival or whoever, and then they can take an upturn in form. But I think a circuit like this coming up, Jack, of Imola, that's quite different from China. We could see a bit of a different result in store.
Absolutely, we could. It's going to be one shot qualifying followed by 22 laps around Imola. Safety cars will be turned on, so any accidents will be a bit dangerous. And then we have the soft cops in sights. He's expecting a 14.2 pole position time in one shot quali. So we're going to hopefully see what softies expectations will prevail. Obviously, former 7-time TGP1 champion. Probably, if you were going to pick one man to be in the cockpit, if aliens came to Earth and wanted someone to race you, it would be that man you'd send. But he's not here this season. He's not trying to defend that championship. We're going to have a new champion for the first time in a while, if it's not New Zealand Cam. And it looks like it could be Casper in the Mercedes. But at the end of the day, it's TGP1. Casper could go on a calm streak and lose the next six, and Calm could win them. And then we're going to get to week 8 and not have any idea on who's going to win. But he does extend his championship gap even more. It was 46 points before tonight. That gap's extended. Imola now, 22 laps, one-shot quali. I think the boys that are around about second, third, and fourth need a steady one-shot quali, get into the race, and they just need to try and outscore Casper. It's the consistency that these boys are lacking that Casper seems to have, and can anyone challenge him in Imola? We'll wait and find out.
Yeah, I think this, again, like Japan last week, is a tricky circuit for a one-shot quali because it's absolutely... there's every corner is just open to exceeding track limits, corner cutting, and once you do that in the one shot, it's game over. You're at the very back, and again, on a track like this, it's going to be super difficult to find your way through the pack over 22 laps. So it's a critical qualifying session, and I'll be interested to see who comes out on top. Let us know, Softy, in the chat, if you are listening. What do you think about your chances against Casper? If you were racing in this current grid, do you think you would get the better of him? We want to know. I'd want to know, that's for sure. What's his thoughts on that, if he would be able to get the better of the current form of Casper? But let us know on the live stream chat. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this qualifying, and hopefully it's dry, Jack. I think we've had enough rain for these races tonight.
We've had absolutely enough rain, and I know exactly what Softy's going to say. Softy's going to say that Cam is handing Casper the championship, and I'm not saying Cam would win the championship if he was more consistent, but I do believe it should be more than a fight than it is at the moment. But you have to give Casper credit where it's due. Casper's not had this all his own way. I know he's won 4 in a row, but if you look at those gaps over the last 3 out of the 4 races, he's not had it easy, and we have seen in previous seasons where you can have that big gap in the top and it comes to a halt. But who are we going to see in one-shot quali? We might try and find Casper, maybe put some pressure on him in the cockpit of the Mercedes as he's down the order. He starts his one-shot quali lap in Imola, my favourite track to drive, but I'm not driving tonight. Casper, I'd be nowhere near him if I was. What is his lap time going to be? We will see as we'll get all the stats and statistics up as he's nice and neat through the first part of Sector 1 as that ERS is absolutely drained from that body on that straight, but you don't need it too much through this middle part. You've just got to keep it between the white lines. Use as much tarmac as you possibly can without track extending, and it's the top 2 that we expect to be up there. But Casper is leading at the moment, keeping it between the white lines. Down the hill we go now to the double right-hander. They have to lift off and not brake, but just lift off enough. Get rotation in the car if you can, and Casper's nice and neat so far.
Yeah, Cam was ahead in the first sector, but it's Casper who's came back in the middle sector there. And I think Cam has just had a moment there going through the chicane because he's just tumbled down the order into 11th. We've already lost a couple of cars at the back then. But Casper, with only 2 corners to go, it's looking neat and tidy so far.
Round the final corner he goes. He'll open the DRS for a bit more assistance down the straight. He's got barely any battery, but it's going to be pole position, and it's the only man in the 14s is New Zealand Cam. We were talking about that consistency. He has invalidated his lap for the 2nd week running in one-shot qualifying. Softy letting us know that he thinks he'll be winning the championship, and I think he would be too, but it's not about him tonight. Casper is showing his dominance, and maybe we'll just have to call Softy out of retirement.
Well, look at the V Cubs as well, by the way, or the RPs, whichever one you want to go with for that team name. But second and third, what a fantastic qualifying for them. Despite the gaps being quite big from Dom to Casper there, they'll be delighted with that starting position. But like we said before, Jack, it was critical to get the lap in, and there's quite a lot of them at the back, which are well out of position. You've got Matt Tibos, Court, Enzo Cam, well, Machine Island as well, and probably Kai. They're all out of position there.
Yep, so your top 10 for the Imola one-shot qualifying. Casper on pole position. The V-Carbs, second and third. That's a great qualifying for them. Phil Bardwell in fourth. I think that's his favourite qualifying position. I think he's qualified there about 5 times this season. Viva La Merco in fifth. Johners in sixth. Chris Johnson with a great qualifying in P7. Arthur in eighth. Mr. Giapelli and Neljak round out the top 10. So maybe some points for those guys further down the order.
Well, this is the thing. It's a long run into the first corner, and I'm actually keeping an eye on Dom Smith here, would you believe it? Because he's starting in third place. He might just get a good slipstream down into the first corner, and let's just keep an eye on those two RBs. Can they challenge Casper into the first corner? They might as well have a go, because it's such a long run into the first corner. It does narrow a little bit, though, Jack, so if they're going to try something, they've got to get on with it off the line. But it's going to be fascinating to see, and a thrilling race once again in store.
Absolutely, they do. It does narrow through the first turn and second. We've seen some crashes there in real life. We have 5 red lights on the grid for the Imola Grand Prix. We get racing. Jovial Mani, a man known for great starts, hasn't had a great start because Dom Smith's had a great start. And maybe the RBs are going to be battling into turn 1. They're side by side, and Dom's going to have to try and defend from Phil. And Casper has held on for now. A Red Bull's off in the background, but Dom Smith has held on to P3 for now. And that's what his teammate Jovial Mani needs. The top 4 seem to be on the medium compounded tyres. And there's a safety car on lap 1. And I do believe Chris Johnson, who had a great qualifying, is at a crash and is down in last place. Hopefully he'll be able to get going again.
Yeah, he just did it on the gravel there on the outside, just got pinned onto the edge of the circuit and just speared across the track. He's lucky, actually, to still be in the race because he went slamming into the barrier there. But I said initially he's got him because it looked like the two RBs had a great start there, but Casper, just in that second phase, was able to pull clear and had enough margin before the first corner to hang on to that lead. But well, we're going to have it all over again because of this safety car when they get restarted.
I only had it very briefly, but Dom looked to actually have the best start of the 3.
Yeah.
And Jovial Mani seemed that narrowing gap that you talked about seemed to come quicker than Dom maybe expected. The wall just seemed to creep up on Dom, and he had to kind of lift off and get back into the slipstream because there just wasn't space to go 3 wide. And like you say, we are going to have this once more. It's going to be a rolling start this time, so maybe Casper will be a bit more vulnerable as Johnner comes into the pits now. Maybe some guy's going to try that hard tyre now that get the pit stop out the way. Maybe it's worth the risk. But as you see, we'll have the tyres up just as we have the safety car. The top 6 all on the mediums, but Mr. Giapelli, top 6. Lewis Craig, 8th. Wet Lemons, 9th. And someone this has helped massively is New Zealand Calm. He's in 10th. But obviously these guys that are not stopping, as you see, everyone from 12th down now is basically stopped.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call from them because if there is another safety car later, then the front runners will be fine. But if there's not, and the likes of Jonas, who has pace in the locker, if he can make use of those hard tyres, it's a super long pit lane here at Imola. So I think they may have made a masterful call there, coming into the pits and getting that pit stop out of the way.
It could be indeed, but you're probably going to have, for the likes of Casper, Giovanni and Dom up front, they're going to box, they're going to come out. Depends how much of a gap they can make. Maybe the traffic, and you think you wouldn't be able to get past New Zealand Calm, you'd expect from like Johners and Kai, but you think Bevesser, Wet Lemons, Lewis might put up a fight. This could be... I know it's only lap 2, but we already don't know who's got a real chance here. The safety car's kind of flown stuff up into the works. And, well, it's not like TGP1 to give the commentators an easy race to commentate on.
Well, I think it could be, in a similar way to the last race, in a very different way, but it's kind of got the feeling again of those guys on the potentially slower tyre, but will have track position at the end. Because if the field remain close, well, that's perfect for them guys at the back. If they can all just stay in the DRS and just get pulled along, well, then once the front runners do pit, and if we don't have any more safety cars in this one, then they could be in trouble. Wet Lemons is in the pits, and so too is Arthur, so something's happened there.
Arthur, I think, went into the back of somebody, and Wet Lemons, I think, is doing that strategically. I think he's listening on stream,
No sound mediums.
and maybe
Wow.
listening to us is not the best idea, since we are commentating and not driving. But the guys out front stayed on the mediums. They trust their strategies and maybe thinking, I'm P2 and 3 in first, fourth. Maybe it's not worth the risk as someone that's down in 12th. Maybe down in 8th, like Johners was. It's worth that risk. It's like you're not winning. It's going to be a tough ask to get on the podium. And you'd expect Mr. Giapelli, Lewis, Craig, Bavesser, no disrespect to those guys, but you'd expect the likes of Johners and Kai to be able to come back at them later on, as everyone is shuffling for tyre temperature. That is the big ask, though. The hards are going to be really hard to get. There's a bit of a coincidence there. Hards are going to be quite hard to get the temperature in the tyre to get the restart. Maybe that's where the mediums, those first few laps after the restart, those guys are going to have to take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Casper is really going to need to get his foot down here when this gets back underway, just because of the potential threat of those towards the back, and the safety car is coming in this lineup.
Yep, Casper led every lap in Saudi Arabia from start to finish, even when he boxed. He came in, pitted first, came out in first. But he's not had it all his own way this season, even though the championship begs to differ. And with this long run now, he could be very, very vulnerable to losing the lead here in Imola. It's lap number 3. We've not had much racing, and he's already gone. Maybe trying to catch Jovial Manti napping, and he's slowed down a wee bit. And that might be a bit of trouble later on, but we're not going to worry about that for the moment, as Jovial Manti is going to try and make the move. He'll have no DRS until the next time around, but he's managed to hold on here as Casper for now, as Jovial Manti can't quite close the gap. Dom Smith not close enough to make a move, and I think everyone is getting through safely at the moment.
Joe Manny's disconnected, I think, on my screen, if you're seeing the same thing, and so that's terrible news for him, because he's going to plummet down the order. We've got another tangle at the back. I don't think it's going to be a safety car. We've had another spin at the back, and you can just see Joe Manny now tumbling down the order, and what a shame for him.
What a shame for the host at HB1, not what he needed tonight. And Dom Smith, ladies and gentlemen, is in P2. Take your photos while you have the chance, because this video might get deleted after this if he finishes in P2. Calm is up into 8th place though. He's gaining the positions he needs to. On the hard tyres, still to stop. This could be a race where Calm can get back in the fight, especially if Casper loses out in positions later on in the race, but he's in trouble from Professor behind, and the grid is so close. Other than Dom, he was out of DRS on Casper. Casper doing what he needs to do in this early phase of the race. Phil, Viva La Merkel, who's been very impressive this season so far. Mr. Giapelli is holding on for 5th as well. These guys are going to have DRS this time around. Not this time around, next time around, sorry. Are they going to be able to make a move without the DRS? It's Viva La Merkel that has the chance to. He's closing and closing on Phil. And Phil just goes defensive a wee bit, but not quite enough to make any moves. New Zealand Cam and Lewis Craig battling for position, and that has thrown Lewis Craig out of sync, and that might allow the Haas round the outside of the Mercedes, who has to go defensive. Can Lewis Craig hold on? No, he can't. And Bavesser gets up into P8, and maybe that gap just cost Lewis the opportunity there. The battle with Cam just compromised his line a wee bit, and Casper 2 seconds now on Dom. That is exactly what he needed.
Wet Lemons had a little spin at the back there, and those hard tyre runners, Jonas has not really managed to find the pace yet. He's been gapped to Lewis Craig. It's about 2 seconds in the minute, which is not terrible, but it just shows that they might not quite have the pace at this point of the race. But keeping an eye on that thing, Jonas is 8 seconds off the lead at the minute, so it's not much. But if that continues to go up, then Casper will well and truly be back in control of this race.
Casper setting purple sectors every sector since the restart. But he's on the mediums and maybe them hard tyres like we spoke about under the safety car, not quite getting up to grip. But someone who is up to grip is Phil Bargewell. The only other man to win a Grand Prix this season is up into P2, and Dom Smith now is going to have the advantage of DRS next time round. Is anyone else going to try and make a move? Professor is doing extremely well to hold the back of New Zealand Calm, and maybe Calm not going to have this all his own way as we have blue flags in the middle sector. Hopefully the Red Bull does stay out of the way. Johners, though, has got that gap now, under 2 seconds to Lewis Craig. Johners just needs to get those into the working window and get back that grip and try get back up the order if he can. Viva La Merco now is holding on to Dom, and someone who is holding on to the back of this battle is Luca Giapelli in 5th, battling Machine Ireland. He might just lose out here, Machine Ireland, if he can get ahead. Luca going to hold on for now. Luca doing well in P5 for some solid points.
Yeah, Chiapelli there got a little bit out of shape, but I saw Pavesio actually. He was trying to get past Cam down the start-finish straight, and he almost had the mother and father of accidents down the start-finish straight because he just almost drove straight into the concrete wall that just sticks out just at the kink after the start-finish line, and Enzio Cam was not giving him any space at all. But Pavesio's lost a bit of time this lap, and it looks like Machine Ireland is trying to once again get back ahead of Chiapelli, but is not quite close enough just at the moment.
Struggling for straight line speed. The toll that's coming off the cars ahead is just helping Mr. Giapelli. He's had a moment, and that's all Mr. Machine Ireland needed to take that position. Look at doing what he needed to do, but just a wee bit of lapse in concentration on the throttle pedal has cost him. And Joe Viamani rejoining the session down in P17. That is the end of his chances, and it's a disaster for him. You don't like to see that. New Zealand Calm and company right on the back of Mr. Giapelli now. They're looking to make a move as well. And Calm's just going to have to bide his time. He doesn't want any mistakes, doesn't want to have a crash and cost himself the chance at solid points, because it's now kind of just this phase of damage limitation tonight and get to next week.
Yeah, I think this is the point. They're all kind of stuck at the minute. This is the nature of this circuit. You know, apart from the start-finish straight, it's not easy to get ahead of the car in front. And they've also got the distraction now of the lap car of Arthur starting to catch these guys and might just get in the way to make this even more difficult. But meanwhile, out front, Casper has almost got a 3-second lead now. And once again, sets the fast lap of the race.
Yep, Casper and Phil swapping fastest laps every single time they cross the line. Viva La Merco closing the gap now to Dom Smith for that final step in the podium. But Mr. Giapelli's back up and ahead of Machine Ireland, and kind of like...
Oh no, they've crashed. Enzio Cam and Chiapelli, and there's another car off. That's Pavesio getting involved in that as well. Just got a little bit wide there, and the Williams, after a great move, Jack, down the start-finish straight, is tumbling down the order and has damage, and what a shame for Mr. Chiapelli.
What a shame indeed. New Zealand Cam has lost a bit of front wing, and there's a safety car.
Now Jack in the McLaren, he had a spin as well there. He's broke the whole of his front wing, and what was I saying before? This is going to be perfect for the front runners.
Casper has a penalty. Casper has a free taking time penalty. There's the first mistake from your championship leader this season, and with a safety car coming in, where is the likes of Johners in this battle? Because Johners will get the leader gap. It's 13 seconds. I think Casper might be okay here, but it's going to be tight.
It's going to be very tight indeed. Like I said before, it's a very long pit lane, so it's going to be interesting. No brainer for these guys to come in the pits now. But let's just see. I wonder if Jonas will continue on. I think someone's picked a bit of damage up there. I think that's the McLaren of Viva La Merco. It's just hit the back of Dom Smith at the final corner. I don't know that for sure, as Phil Bargewell does well and truly take the lead. No, he doesn't. He's in the pit lane.
Jonas leads.
Car there. Jonas, that's the one. Yeah, Jonas into the lead.
Jonas leads the Imola Romagna Grand Prix. Kai has managed to sneak his way up into second. I do believe Chris as well has stopped. He's in third. Matt Tibos in fourth. Looks like he's disconnected from the session though. Casper's come out in 5th. Now, he does have a lot better tyres. We'll check the deltas. It's how
He's
much...
on the hards.
It's on the hard.
Interesting.
He did start on the medium, so maybe that was the right way to go. But after safety car, 4 lap better tyres maybe.
Yeah,
Give
Lewis
or
Craig's
take.
going on softs.
Lewis Craig's a very brave man. But yeah, Casper has to avoid what Cam had in China, where he couldn't get through the traffic ahead and battle for the lead. That's what cost him in the end. Casper now, you'd imagine, should win the Grand Prix from this position, but he's got Phil behind, he's got Dom behind. They're not going to give up without a fight. And Johners now is leading the Grand Prix. He is not going to give this up without a battle. He's got Kai, who they're very similarly paced, we know. Chris Johnson as well. Maybe not someone you'd expect to be up here, but he's not going to give it up when he is. Matt Tibbles, if he can get back in the session as well, is a very talented driver. This could literally go any way, and once more, the race in TGP1 has thrown a spanner in the works.
Yeah, I think he had to go on the hard tyres, but I don't think that's... I don't know. It's going to be really interesting on how Casper does here. With the penalty as well, I don't think this is going to be straightforward for him at all, just because of how difficult it is to overtake here. So we'll see. I think he's got the pace to do it, but like we saw in previous races, it's never quite that simple.
Well, if he does do it, you have to admit it is going to be something special, and that's what we get every week in TGP1. It's always something special, and I think yourself is finding out very quickly, with only 2 nights in the commentary box, that this is no easy gig. But someone that's not going to have an easy gig is Johners. In the front, out in front, only Bert Mailander ahead of him, and Johners just knows now he's got to keep it on the road, not get a penalty, because in theory, doesn't need to win on the road here tonight. He just needs to keep within 3 seconds of Casper to win this Grand Prix. It's a big ask, but if anyone can do it, we know Johners has the experience and the talent to do so. But Speed Kai, not one that's not going to be without a chance here to win this race, and someone that's won Imola before will want to win again.
Yeah, I think the top 2, they will have the pace. They've got to hope that Chris Johnston and probably more Matt Tibos can hold off Casper for at least a lap or so, because just with the nature of the field spread here, they might just be able to hang on. I'm not too sure how bad the hards will be, though, at the end of this race, considering they're going to basically do the entire race distance, but they've obviously had 2 safety cars as well, so the tyre wear might not be as bad. As the safety car is coming in once again, it's going to be very interesting to see how these hard tyre runners hang on, and it's also the likes of Machine Island, who's on a fresh set of mediums. He could be quite interesting to watch in these final laps as well.
Yeah, Machine Island, didn't notice myself there, but he could be within a great chance of at least a podium, you'd imagine, come the end. Those tyres are going to be very fortunate in the early stages. Johners not going as early as Casper. Round the final corner he goes. Now he has gone. Kai now going to be very close to being able to make a move. There's going to be no DRS, and Johners leading the Grand Prix looks like a sitting duck on that main straight, whereas Casper never, and the people that didn't stop battling in China have not stopped that in Imola, and Johners holds on once more. Speed Kai has to settle for second, and Matt Tibbles has already passed Chris Johnson. Matt Tibbles is clearly back in the session, and maybe Matt Tibbles is one for a shout at winning this Grand Prix. And this is the battle now. Casper v Chris, and Casper's almost gone off. He's managed to hold on there. Maybe Casper feeling the pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. A big moment there as Enzio Cam gets ahead of Viva La Merco there for P9. But a big moment there for Casper. He's now trying to find a way past Chris Johnson, but you're not going to find a way through at this part of the lap.
Nope, he's going to have to sit and endure the dirty air of the Ferrari ahead, and it's not the Ferrari he'd expect to be behind. We have the VSC, as Matt Tibos was trying to make a move on Speed Kai, but the VSC will kind of neutralise the Grand Prix. Not as effective as a safety car, of course. Obviously, you can manipulate it in the games ever so slightly. I'm not sure if that still affects this game as much. But Casper, managed to save it, and maybe the pressure creeping in. He knows that this Grand Prix is not in his hands now, and it's not been that way for some time in TGP1. Johners and Kai, they kind of affected each other's race in China, where they couldn't decide who was going to lead, and it cost them in the long run for the battle for the podium. Maybe that's going to happen this time for the race win.
Well, I think this VSC is actually perfect for some of these older hard tyre runners because it just delays the race a little bit. Just like you said, neutralises it so then they can't come under attack from anybody, and it just edges them closer to the end of this race. But there is still a long way to go. And although Casper made the mistake there, he still has time on his side to make the moves ahead. And there we go. We are green once more. And it's a little bit of a mistake there from Casper. The Aston Martin of Phil Bardwell just had a little look at the inside, thinks better of it. But Casper, once again, almost getting caught out there.
Casper almost getting caught out. Johners almost caught out. They were side by side at the front, and Johners has managed to hold on. Casper's managed to hold on. New Zealand Calm has finally passed Tom Smith in the background. And look at the gap between the top 10, 11, all within under a second of each other. And this is what TGP1 is all about. And Kai, without the DRS, is even going to try and make a move before we get to the start-finish straight, and he decides to hold on to the detection point.
The thing is, he can't be silly here. He can't be silly just chasing the current P1 because he's got to think of the cars chasing behind. He can't try anything silly because he will lose the opportunity. But he's got a great run on them now, and he's going to take the lead from Johners here.
Yep, into P1 goes Speed Kai from Johners. Matt Tibbles has managed to hold on to third. Casper's got him past Chris as Phil Barger's had a wee bit of a wobble. I think he survived though. And he's behind Calm. Machine Ireland on them mediums that we were speaking about earlier could be on for a great finish here. And if there's someone that's going to win the race, that is a great chance. Matt Tibbles seems to have moved out the way of Casper there. I don't think he wants involved.
Yeah, he almost just checked out there and was like, I'm not having any of this. And the two Ferraris are having a bit of it, though, because they were wheel to wheel there. As NCL Cam now gets ahead of Chris Johnston. And there's Machine Ireland right in the mix here. He might be a big factor in the race for the win here because he is on an absolute charge on those mediums.
Absolutely, he is. He is right on the back of Matt Tibbles, and you'd expect him to get past Matt Tibbles. Maybe Matt thinking that these guys ahead are not in his race as Calm picks up a time penalty. That mistake's creeping in again. The boys at the front feeling the pressure. Chris Johnson, the perfect team player in this game, had many a race win battles and championship battles with Chris in TGP2 on the Wednesday nights, but Chris just showing his class, letting his teammate go. And Machine Ireland now in the back of Matt Tibbles. Matt Tibbles kind of seems to know that this isn't his race tonight with the guys out front as Machine and New Zealand Calm. They're going to try and get past Matt Tibbles as well, and does so. And I tell you what, anyone in that top 5 could win this Grand Prix.
Absolutely. And I tell you now, Kai and Johners, they will be worried because they are in all sorts of trouble. As we've got a car off, that is the... I'm not too sure. It's Wet Lemons, and he's kept out the barrier, so no more safety cars at the moment. But like I was saying, Johners and Kai are going to be incredibly worried as Casper now is right on the tail of the Alpine, but goes a little bit wide there and just allows Machine Island to just take a couple of attempts out of them. Machine
Ireland might actually be the favourite for this Grand Prix victory at this moment in time. Casper's picked up another penalty. So, maybe the guys ahead will be less worried because it's now 6 seconds, and I think that pressure that Casper's feeling is starting to boil up in that Mercedes cockpit, and I think Toto over the radio is going to be saying no, no, no once more, but someone that won't be saying no, no, no is Casper to try and get past Johners this time, who's out of the DRS on the Williams ahead. This is the best opportunity for Casper, and he doesn't even need DRS to make the move.
Yeah, that's critical. Absolutely critical for Casper there. If he wants to try and win this race, he has to get clear of those medium runners because with 6 seconds, well, even these hard tyre runners, he's going to struggle to pull a gap on them.
Yeah, Machine Ireland is in prime position. If he can keep New Zealand Calm behind, not run in the dirty air of New Zealand Calm, get past Johners on his older hard, he is in prime position here to win the race. He just needs to get past Kai. That's what he needs. That's Machine Ireland's goal. Get past Kai, and if you don't even overtake ERT Casper, you're in with a great chance of this Grand Prix victory.
Matt Tibos once again getting swallowed up in the midfield now, and his teammates ahead of him. He's got the Red Bull Accord and Bavaria right on his tail as well. Make that 3 cars behind him. Dom Smith is right there during the pie. So Matt Tibos is really struggling for grip and pace here, and we've got a crash. That's Arthur in the barrier, and we'll see if that becomes a VSC or a safety car. I hope it doesn't, and I don't think it will.
I think we've had 3, so we do have 1 more in the pocket tonight. Casper now, round the final corner he goes. He'll open up the DRS, which he's going to need this time to make the move, which will be for the lead of the Grand Prix. Whether or not come lap 22, that will be the fact. We don't know yet. Down the left-hand side in turn number 1, Kai did what he could to hold on, but it's not enough. And Casper is your new race leader, but Kai is still in with a chance of winning this Grand Prix. Johners as well. Machine Ireland, probably the favourite. New Zealand Calm, if he can get within 3 seconds of Casper, of course, does still have a chance of winning this Grand Prix. And Phil, since that kind of wobble, seems to have fallen off the pace. Maybe just trying to get some temperature back in the tyre and some confidence back in himself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's easier said than done, but what Kai just has to do here is just stay in that DRS as long as he possibly can and just get pulled along by Casper here and just run down the laps. Because at the minute, like you said, at the minute he will still win this race. But the only people that can really stop him is probably those medium tyre runs. And Machine Island had a terrible chicane there and has just lost a heap of time to Johners and may set Enzil Cam back onto the tail of that Sauber once again.
New Zealand Calm looking feisty. He wants the chance to win this race, but he needs to get ahead, and he's had a moment out of the final corner there. Speed Kai now on the back of the Williams for the lead of the Grand Prix. He is closing that gap ever so slightly, but it's not going to be enough into turn number 1. And Machine Ireland now ahead of Johners. New Zealand Calm, can he do the same? Oh. Johners is doing everything to make sure that doesn't happen. And the Alpine has pushed him off. And Calm's title hopes are slipping as the races go by. And I'm not sure who was ahead into turn number 1. But I believe Calm might think that was a bit naughty. And Casper is starting to make sure that 1 second gap is evaporated, but it's not quite. Kai's managed to hold on as Casper's gone off.
Yeah, Jonas was ahead, but he wasn't very kind to Cam there, that's for sure. He was not giving him any space and well and truly shut the door and told him, you're not coming through. And Cam didn't want to back out of it and has ended up spinning around and down into 10th. I'm sure that one will go to the stewards.
Yeah, he is not going to be happy with that, New Zealand Cam. He's down in P10. Going to lose more ground to Casper now. Casper is going to finish P5 in this Grand Prix as it stands, and he's a 10th away from finishing behind Court Gill. So Casper leading the Grand Prix. This could be a 6th place for Casper, which would be an absolute disaster for his Grand Prix tonight, but not in his championship hopes. And Speed Kai could be looking to make himself the 3rd winner in 6 races this season.
Yeah, Casper's not going to do this at the minute. At the minute, he's definitely not taking enough time out of Kai. Kai is doing the job at the minute. He's staying in the DRS, and he's driving brilliantly to potentially win this race, because Machine Island is almost 2.5 seconds behind, so he's not a threat at the moment, and he's doing all he needs to do. He needs to just keep that up, because as soon as that DRS is broken, then that's when he might need to start worrying. But at the minute, superb driving.
Superb indeed. We have battles further down. Dom Smith is on the back of Phil Bardwell, closing that gap. If he can try and keep that gap at that pace, he should be able to make a move on the DRS straight. But Vesser in the top 5, picking up a penalty, costing himself a chance and more points. But the race seems to have settled down at this moment in time on lap 18. We've got 4 laps to go once Casper crosses the line again. There's a Sauber off, which is Sheck Way. I think he's just letting the blue flags infect there. But yeah, Kai doing what he needs to do. 7 tenths is the gap. And with the DRS that you mentioned he needs to stay in, he's doing a good job here, Kai.
Yeah.
And I tell you someone who's not doing a good job, Machine Ireland. He is struggling ever since he got clear of Matt Tibos.
I wonder if those mediums are actually starting to go off a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to fall off a cliff, but in comparison to the hard tyres, maybe they are starting to lose some of their paces. Enzio Cam moves ahead of Matt Tibos for P9 as we have our 5th retirement. And Enzio Cam's round. He's round again, and at the same corner, is facing backwards now, facing the right way, but he's down into 11th, and there's his teammate, make that 12th.
This season is not going the way New Zealand Cam would have imagined, and as Softy said, it's just the mistakes have crept in, and we're not saying that Casper wouldn't be champion if Cam was up there and battling, but we have so much respect for Cam and his abilities as a driver. We expect him to at least be battling Casper for the championship, and maybe just shooting himself in the foot a wee bit in that hunt for a championship. And as the races go on, it's looked like Casper's, but this Grand Prix not looking like it's in his favour, as he has now extending the gap. It looks like he's going to miss out on the podium. Johners, pitted on lap 1, could be on for P2 here.
Here he comes, there goes Jonas, up into 3rd now. And like you said, a net P2, so much speed down that straight. And Machine Island's tyres must have just gone off now. He's tumbling behind these guys, but Jonas is coming back into play. And, well, Casper's got a little gap, and he might actually... Casper has had a great first sector there. He's got the gap up to 2.1 seconds momentarily there to Kai, and it's also gone up quite a lot to Jonas. So Casper is seriously getting his foot down.
Casper doing what he needs to do to try hold on to a podium position, and if Machine Ireland's tyres have gone off, Lewis Craig's softs have definitely gone off ages ago. Machine Ireland is just managing to hold on for a podium here, but he's 5/10ths off with 2 laps to go once they cross the line again. He's going to be struggling to hold on and try to get a podium out of this.
The only way Kai is not going to win this, and I should probably say this because I don't want to commentator curse it, but is if he gets a penalty. If he gets a penalty here, then, well, it could be incredibly tight. But at the minute, there's just not going to be enough laps left for Casper to do the job. He's gaining time on Kai, but it's not going to be enough.
Not going to be enough with 2 laps to go. We've started the penultimate lap of the Imola Romagna Grand Prix here tonight. Machine Island looking to make a move on Johners. They swap places once more. Court Gill as well. Going to try and make a move. Phil's going to try and make a move on Court and on Bevesser if he can sneak down the inside. Not quite on Bevesser.
Oh no, they're all off.
Oh, major contact. I just seen the end of that. The Red Bull was in the wall, and Matt Tibos close to that battle just has to avoid the debris that's been left on the track. And that first sector has been a problem for many drivers tonight.
Dom Smith is on for a P5 at the minute with Baveshi's penalty as well. Just picking up the pieces after that tangle there between Phil Bardwell and Court. Dom Smith currently on for a net P5 as the gap at the front is almost enough for Casper to be into 2nd place, but it's definitely not going to be enough for the win.
Not enough for the win. Oh, Johners is hit! Machine Ireland! And Johners is off!
Oh.
He's got damage, and his chances of a podium have crumbled away. I'm not really sure if Machine Ireland broke earlier than usual, but Johners' chance at the podium have vanished, and it's a disaster for Johners. Not what he needed. And Machine Ireland's chance of P2 slipped away, and Casper, it was looking like 6th. He's only going to drop 1 position. Bevesser now is going to move up into 4th, and Dom Smith now is going to confirm 5th if he can get past Johners, and maybe even a 4th place on the final lap. But he does need to try and get past, and there's not really many overtaking places for him to do so.
Well, it depends how bad that damage is on Jonas. If Dom Smith could get ahead of Jonas here, he could be on for P4, which means it will get even better for him. But the gap at the front, Casper has got it now for 2nd place. We are on the final lap, and it looks like at the minute Kai has done enough.
It looks like Kai has done enough indeed, but it's not over until the checker flag is waved. Cam picks up the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He'll get the bonus point, but Cam is not going to be too happy with that. And Dom Smith is just running out of time here, isn't he, to make that move?
Yeah, Kai just had a massive moment there into the chicane. He had an almighty slide, but as Casper comes around the final corner, it looks like it's not going to be enough.
Casper crosses the line to win the 5th race in a row, but it's not going to be the win he wants because there's penalties. Kai finally wins again in TGP1. Machine Ireland does get the podium. Johners comes home in 4th. Dom Smith with a very impressive P5, but Vesser holds on for P6. Court Gill manages to come home in P7, and Phil Bardwell on his 300th race start in TGP1 comes home in 8th. Matt Tibbles manages to save P9. Mr. Giapelli with a top 10 finish after having words with his teammate this week about finishing Grand Prix. He's shown his teammate that he can't get the points in. Chris Johnson is going to come in 11th. That's great points for him. Lewis Craig has sneaked P12 of Viva La Merkel on penalties, who's come 13th, and New Zealand Calm will round out the grid. It's 1 point and 1 bonus point for Calm. And that on your screen, 14th New Zealand Calm. What a disaster of a Grand Prix. Congratulations to Kai, 3rd race winner this season. And Casper obviously did enough on the road. He finished in pole position, got the job he needed done, just got the penalties. Kai did what he needed to do. A new person on the top step of that podium. It's the first time since F122 he's won the race. Congratulations to Kai. Any thoughts on that entertaining Imola Grand Prix that we weren't expecting?
Mega congrats to Kai there, and it just showed they made the right call putting at the start, despite there being 2 safety cars and a VSC and all sorts in the mix. It made sense to get onto those hard tyres early, and there was enough life in them. At the end, they were able to hang on to Casper, and what a fantastic result for Kai, and well deserved.
Well deserved indeed. We ran through your order there. There is your grid. That is the Imola Grand Prix over and done with, ladies and gentlemen. We've had 6 amazing Grand Prix to the start of this season in TGP1 on F124. Next week, we are in the absolute spectacular Monaco. And that is going to be the 25% race, so thank goodness there'll be no safety cars there. Canada is going to be round 8. That is the 24th of September. That is the 4th week of the season. And with the Grand Prix we've had this season so far, expectations are high. We don't know anyone can win. I know Casper has finished the line in first a lot this season, but it's just so close. We just don't know who's going to win. And with another great night, Kai with a Grand Prix victory. Any final thoughts from yourself before we head off?
Well, I think that's a good way for it to finish, is having a different winner. It gives hope to everybody else that they could do the same thing. It shows Casper is not invincible. He got the penalties and he ended up losing the race win. So a promising result for the remainder of the season, and I can't wait for Monaco and Canada next week, which should deliver once again.
Absolutely, indeed. We'll be here in the same place at the same time for another couple of rounds of TGP1. It's been season 42. If you had any expectations going into it, I'm sure they have been broken. He's been Cameron, I've been Jack. This has been another great night, and we'll see you on PS4.